Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Congratulations, Greenwood High School seniors, and a warm welcome to all the graduates, teachers, administrators, parents, and relatives joining us today, whether remotely or in the stadium, hopefully sitting 6 feet apart from each other. Many students here also have family members and friends who have supported them throughout their time in high school, and I would like to also acknowledge these people for making this day possible for so many of us. Even though we are the class of 2020, as we've seen, the end of this academic year has been anything but clear. But still, we as a class have made it through our stay-at-home, e-learning, socially distant last semester of high school and have gotten to this moment right now, graduation. My generation knows that frivolous pop culture fads have always come and gone at lightning speeds, but now it seems even more so. From old collectibles like silly bands in elementary school to dabbing from just a few years back, we know that these trends, as popular and important as they seem at the time, do not last. But as we sit in this stadium for graduation today, I want everybody to remember one part of our high school experience that has lasted for 4 years, our ability to persevere and make the best of every situation. When we first entered high school as freshmen and took fine arts classes with Miss Jolly and Miss Tav, learned to drive as sophomores at Lakeland's Driving Academy with Coach Fields and Coach Addis, stayed after school and came in early as seniors for Miss Sly and Mr. Kynard, and completed our senior assignments just mere hours before they were due just a few Fridays ago, we have shown that we know the true meaning of perseverance and getting hard work done, whether it be during a pandemic or not. And I beg every student in this stadium to continue this drive after graduation, whether you're going to college, joining the military, or starting a job. Be sure not to let your hard work be a passing fad, but rather a trend that you will continue throughout your life, wherever you may go. This year I had the honor of taking AP Calculus at Greenwood High with Miss Hyatt. However, starting in October, some of my friends had the idea of watching the Christmas classic Polar Express during class. After long spans of learning about derivatives and antiderivatives, we felt that a little break from the joyous strains of calculus was well warranted. But with the tight schedule needed for the AP exam, Miss Hyatt, with good reason, continuously declined. Nevertheless, we persisted until finally, the day before winter break, we watched that film during the latter part of class. See, despite the hurdles in convincing her, we finally got what we desired most. And yes, while this story is admittedly silly, its sentiment of persevering to reach a goal also applies in more serious circumstances, whether you are training for a sport, studying for a test, working in a job, or any other activity. Not stopping the trend of hard work we have practiced throughout our time in high school will be vital to our success after high school. In closing, I hope that everybody remembers that even though this is the end of your high school career, the drive to succeed we've repeatedly shown is just beginning. Just as SpongeBob gets up every day and proclaims, "I'm ready," I hope everybody here is ready to work hard and continue their lives in a positive, driven direction. Thank you very much and enjoy the ceremony.
Well guys, we made it. Nearly 13 years ago, on August 22nd, 2007, we were just beginning our journey as students. and today we have gathered here together to end it. The fact that we get to walk across this field today is not only a great accomplishment for us, but is something many administrators, teachers, and others have worked hard at for us to experience. I believe this is the first time Mr. Evans was worried about a whole class not being able to graduate, but I think I can speak on behalf of the entire class of 2020 when I say that we are extremely thankful for those of you who fought for us to be here today. While we may have had an unconventional ending to our high school journey, all that matters is that we have made it here today. Now, I don't want to dwell on the events that we missed out on, or the coronavirus, but I want to remind you all of all the memories that we have made together as the class of 2020. We started as freshmen, thinking we were the coolest, but still not being able to navigate our way around the fishbowl. We built gingerbread houses, stressed too much over what color of neon we were going to wear to the football games, and were too scared to sit down in the very, very back of the student sections. Then we began sophomore year, where Miss Sly's class quickly showed us that we were not nearly as smart as we thought we were. Even though our classes were harder, our new privilege to drive led us to go have fun anyways. We dressed to impress, which may have led to a few dress code violations, but it was worth it, along with bringing in Chick-fil-A every day and getting in trouble. Sophomore year is where we finally began to find our place in high school. Junior year came quickly and was a blast. We were old enough to actually be friends with the seniors, and we finally achieved the upperclassmen status. We got to experience our first prom, dominated in powder puff, and soon realized how quickly time was flying by. Then this year, senior year came. It really feels like yesterday when I was taking my last first day picture. We started off the year with a ginormous Travis Scott head, which led us to our third homecoming victory, and we're finally able to earn our spots along the fence at the football games to lead the student section. We gave up on trying to dress cute and showed up to classes when the bell rang or later, usually later. Soon, the reality hit us that it was about time we should probably figure out what we wanted to do with our lives, and the stress of college decisions became very real. We went through the year anticipating all of our lasts of high school, and even though we didn't get to experience most of them, we gather here today to experience our biggest last, our last day as a Greenwood Eagle. My speech today is supposed to be a farewell address, but I want to think of it more as the ending of a chapter and the start of another. The 4 years that we have spent together and the memories that we have made and shared have allowed us to grow into the young adults that we are today. I know that for myself and for most of you out there, we have had many people who have helped to guide us along our journey. Outside of school, our family and friends have been here to support us and lead us through this difficult chapter of life. We would not be here today without you. At school, we have had countless teachers who have taught us not only school subjects, but life lessons. Miss Sly, you taught us to never give up and to be our best in hopes of being a star on your wall. Kynard, you taught us to work hard in order to set ourselves up for success, to be okay with making mistakes and learning from them, and reminded us daily that gravity still works. Mr. Drinkard, you allowed us to see that learning can be fun, showed us firsthand what having a passion for a career really looked like, and taught us how to draw the best stick figures of all time. Miss Dimsdale, you taught us to be independent, prepared us for college, and taught us patience by making us count tiny of hundreds of thousands of fruit flies. And to all the teachers I didn't get to mention, thank you for pouring your time into all of us graduates and shaping us into who we are today. These people and these experiences during our 4 years at Greenwood High have taught us to be hard workers, trustworthy friends, and leaders of the next generation. While the road to graduation was not an easy one, a Bible verse that has encouraged me and given me peace about my future plans is Jeremiah 29:11 that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and comfort you, plans to give you hope and a future." Whether we plan to attend college, join the military, enter the workforce, or choose any other path in life, we will be able to use our high school experience to continue to guide us through these upcoming changes. As Meredith Grey once said, "Change, we don't like it, we fear it, but we can't stop it from coming. We either adapt to change or we get left behind. And it hurts to grow. Anybody who tells you it doesn't is lying. But here's the truth. Sometimes the more things change, the more they stay the same. And sometimes change is good. Sometimes change is everything. Even though we are saying goodbye, and even though everything is about to change for all of us, I encourage us all to embrace the change, remember the past 4 years, but more importantly, look forward to the years to come. Thank you.
"1,383 days ago, I walked into the front doors of Greenwood High alongside all of you. All of us, whether formerly Bulldogs, Knights, or Titans, became Greenwood Eagles on that day roughly 4 years ago. Some of us, let's be honest, most of us, anxiously walked inside the fishbowl on our first day and were scared for our lives. Some of us had studied the school's blueprint and made a handwritten navigation system to find our first class. And a few of the brave souls acted like they knew what they were doing and were quickly humbled as soon as they realized they had to walk a half marathon and climb 17 flights of stairs in between their first two classes. Thankfully, after the first day jitters were gone, freshman year began to fly by. We jumped right in with homecoming as the fa-la-la freshmen and caught a second place finish behind the well-deserving senior class. As eager first-year students, we tried out for new school sports and joined clubs that we would always miss the meetings to. When we weren't dissecting frogs in biology or playing flag tag in gym class, we were keeping the streaks and staying up all night on house party. You know who you are. And before we knew it, we were sophomores. We were no longer the babies, and we finally had some younger ones to pick on. Sophomore year was kicked off by the unforgettable solar eclipse. We were able to observe this astronomical phenomenon together, wearing our super stylish glasses. A few weeks later, we dominated homecoming as sophomores on the shore. May the goldfish in the kiddie pool rest in peace. Most of us remember two things about our sophomore year: pre-cal and trig. Thanks to Miss Sly, I will never forget that pluses and minuses are sacred. And just like that, another year had passed. On to junior year. I once heard someone say that juniors are easily recognizable by the bags under their eyes and the bags on their backs, and I think all of you can attest to that. This is the year when we had to balance our massive class loads with the dreadful SAT, ACT, and AP exams. I think we can all lift up a shout of praise that we will never have to take those tests again. On a brighter note, we caught another dub as juniors in jerseys. Additionally, the infamous din began this year and somehow was anchored by almost entirely Emerald students. We also had a wonderful time at prom, although in my opinion, it definitely did not live up to the one from High School Musical. Finally, senior year arrived. This was the year we had all been waiting for. We were the big dogs on campus, and senioritis was in full swing. Senior year homecoming was by far the best, as our theme was wrapping up high school. Inevitably, we won first place. #3peat. At this point, who was surprised? Senior year was unique in multiple ways. It served as the transition between high school and college, which meant doing homework, writing too many college application essays, and trying to pretend we knew what we wanted to do next year. Finally, college decisions started rolling and excitement began to stir. When we seemed to have everything sorted out, everything was turned upside down. One week we were sitting in our classrooms with our friends, and the next week we found out we would never have that opportunity again. In an instant, the coronavirus pandemic stole the senior year that we had envisioned away from us. Senior sports seasons, prom, parties, senior trips, and all plans were canceled. Even school was taken away from us. Things that we expected to just be handed to us were no longer going to be that way. However, instead of giving up, we continued to strive. We found a way to learn online. We continued to work and take tests, which were open notes by default. We zoomed, and we zoomed some more, and we made it. Who would have ever imagined our senior year ending this way? I wouldn't have, and I definitely would not have chosen it this way. However, this is just a part of our journey that has brought us to where we are today. I am honored to have the opportunity of capturing the history of the class of 2020. However, I am even more honored to be a part of the history-making class of 2020. No class that has ever graduated or ever will graduate from Greenwood High School will have the same journey we have had. In my opinion, No other class's journey can even begin to compare to ours. I am incredibly proud of how far we have come, and I can only imagine how much further we will go in the future. Love you guys. Go Eagles.
Good morning, Greenwood High School. I am honored to be standing here today as your valedictorian. I would like to start by thanking our outstanding staff who made this graduation possible, and for all of our frontline workers who took the time to be here today in order to celebrate with us. None of us would be here if not for our teachers. They took the time to not only teach us the required material, but also to mentor us in this game of life. We will always remember the lessons they have taught us and the drive they ingrained in us. As our time here comes to an end, we can appreciate every step it took to get here. It took optimism and perseverance to overcome the obstacles of the past. Class of 2020, we are about to embark on a new journey. In this journey, we will have to use the same skills of optimism and perseverance to face new challenges. Our future is not dictated by the challenges we face in life. We dictate our lives in the ways we face those challenges. The first day of high school made one thing clear. Disney Channel lied to us. High school is not just about fancy proms and cheesy romances. It's about choosing to be joyful even when you're overwhelmed, exhausted, and knee-deep in physics equations and 5-page essays. High school taught us to strive to make things better, whether it's quizzing each other before a test, offering words of encouragement to a struggling friend, or helping push your team to victory. The positive outlook is what brings us together today. It is because we believed in ourselves and each other to reach our goals. We are here because we persevered through the stress and responsibilities of being a high school student. We've all been surprised by an assignment we forgot about or been dissatisfied with the results of a test. Instead of crying, or after crying, we studied harder and adapted to reach our goals. I remember walking out of Kiner's room with friends after a truly horrendous physics test. We all ate saltines, cried, and crammed in a few more study minutes before the next block's calculus test. It would have been so easy to give up, but we dug our heels in and persevered. There were times I struggled to persevere, like in cross country, when my legs were on fire, I couldn't breathe, and all I wanted to do was sit down. I'd like to share a Bible verse to help me finish multiple races. Isaiah 40:31 states, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." So now as we say goodbye to this chapter of our lives, I encourage you to remember this verse. Life is a race. It's tough, and sometimes the end is nowhere in sight. But you don't give up, and you don't sit down. You keep moving, you dig deep within yourself, and you find a way to cross the finish line. Whether you enter the military, the workforce, or return to school, if you put your trust in God, He will give you the strength to cross the finish line. Our class has endured more than most, as much of our senior year was spent at home due to the COVID-19 virus. Once again, we adapted by learning how to multitask. For example, by watching Outer Banks and attending Zoom meetings at the same time. In all seriousness, we've all faced challenges, endured, and finally succeeded. It is because of our response to these trials that we are ready to receive our diplomas today. Now go make memories with friends and relish the time we have together before we have to part ways for the next chapters of our lives. It is not going to be easy, but if we face our future with optimism and perseverance, nothing will be impossible. Congratulations, class of 2020. We made it.
First of all, I'd like to thank my classmates for making my high school experience amazing. I hope that you have all met friends and made memories that will last a lifetime. I could go on for days about my memories of Greenwood High, but I'd bore you to death. So let me share the most memorable. In this very stadium, our sophomore year, the boys soccer team hosted the playoffs up until the third round. We had an unbelievable run, and it was in this stadium. Now, we all get to share one of the biggest moments of our lives, the graduation of the greatest class to come through Greenwood High School, in the J.W. Babb Stadium. All right, enough sappiness, let's get down to it. Class of 2020, we made it. We made it through all the ID checks with Coach Gates, Ms. Holmes, and Mr. Hill. We made it through some tough classes with Miss Sly, a very memorable teacher, all of them, they are. Miss Sly and her endless work, Mr. Drinkard and his very interesting quotes about mayonnaise, and the John Kynard and his many Kynardisms. Kynard, I believe that we have all learned how to read to succeed. The journey may have been stressful for some of you, and for others, it may have been the time of your lives. Regardless of what your experience was like, we made it. This moment reflects all the hard work we have put in over the past 4 years, and I can say with confidence that we will be the class that nobody ever forgets. Let's just take a moment to remember when we got to Greenwood High School 4 years ago. Dr. Johnson was the superintendent, Dan Pippin was the AD and our head football coach, and Mr. Evans wasn't on his way to the district office, and finally, we didn't have a global pandemic on our hands. It's crazy what can happen in 4 years, isn't it? It's been one crazy journey, but one that we will never forget. We have always stood together as one G through the good times and the bad times. To all the teachers, parents, grandparents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, thank you for helping us along the way. I'd like to share a few wise words from legendary UCLA men's basketball coach John Wooden that will help all of us as we enter the next chapter of our lives. First of all, fear no opponent, but respect your opponent. Second, drink deeply from good books, especially the Bible. Third, make each day your masterpiece. What Coach Wooden meant by this is that you should live each day to the fullest and make sure that it's not just an average work of art, but a masterpiece. If you do this, you will not look back on life with regret, but rather with pride. Fourth, understand the harder you work, the more luck you will have. Fifth, know that valid self-analysis is crucial for improvement. And lastly, remember that there is no substitute for hard work and careful planning. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. When you're cramming for your calc exam in college, you're all going to remember the time that kid at graduation told you to plan ahead, and you're going to think, I should have listened to that dude. Look at me now. As we go off to college, the military, or the workforce, I encourage you all to remember these things. Stay true to yourselves and go make an impact wherever you end up. Our journey was unique, but that's what makes it so memorable. We are the class of 2020. God bless and congratulations.
To alma mater Greenwood High, we lift our voice in praise, for giving us a goal to seek, to pursue through all our days, a search that never ends, till all mankind shall see that we have done our best to find truth for eternity.